Good evening, viewers. Hope you are fine and having good health and you are staying safe at your residence during this period of lockdown. And now I am going to take into account one important topic in the context of GST, that is input tax credit. Now, there are certain constraints. So, for the YouTube video is concerned, so I cannot speak more than 11 to 12 minutes. So, for per video is concerned. So, within this time period, let me see what I can uh, say about this input tax credit. So, it is not a full input tax credit, but most important concepts that I'll be discussing right now. Now, input tax credit will be given to avoid the cascading effect, that is double impact of taxes. Introduction of GST at both central and state levels has integrated taxes on goods and services for the purpose of set-off relief and ensure that the cascading effects prevalent under the earlier regime get removed. GST legislation allows seamless credit on goods and services across the entire supply chain. Now, at this juncture, let me tell you what are the various types of supplies. Now, under this, the first category is exempt supply, and exempt supply means supply of any goods or services or both attracts nil tax rate or wholly exempt from tax under Section 11 or under Section 6. Next, taxable supply, that is supply of goods or services or both which is leviable to tax. Next comes zero rated supply. Under this, there are two categories: export of goods or services or both, and second category, supply of goods or services or both to a SEZ developer or say SEZ unit. Then we are coming to capital goods, the value of which is capitalized in the books of accounts. Then inputs other than capital goods and input services, any service. Now, capital goods, inputs, and input services used or intended to be used in the course or furtherance of business that will be covered under supplies. ITC may be availed on input supplies for making zero rated supply. Therefore, ITC is available on goods or services or both used for supplies made in the course of export or to a sales developer or sales SEZ unit. Now, coming to eligibility. A registered person can claim ITC on inward supply of goods or services or both used or intended to be used in the course or furtherance of business. Goods or services or both which are used for both business and non-business purposes. ITC attributable to business purpose, it is eligible. ITC attributable to non-business purpose, not eligible. Goods or services or both which are used for both taxable, including zero rated supply and exempt supplies. ITC attributable to taxable supply, including zero rated supply, eligible. ITC attributable to exempt supply, not eligible. Now I am discussing conditions for availment of ITC. The first one is possession of tax paying documents. So one should have number one, invoice, revised invoice, debit note. Number two, bill of entry. Number three, invoice issued by the recipient, reverse charge mechanism. And last one, document issued by input service distributor. Second heading, receipt of goods or services or both. The person taking the ITC must have received the goods or services or both. Under third category, tax has been paid to government. Tax should actually have been paid by cash or through utilization of ITC by the supplier. And the last one is filing of return. Person taking the ITC must have filed his return. Now we are going to focus on some important issues. The number one is, as per CGST rules, the original copy issued by the supplier may preferably be kept for record to support the credit entry. Number two, the above documents should contain at least amount of tax, description and total value of supply of goods or services or both. GSTIN of the supplier and recipient and place of supply in case of interstate supply. Number three, ITC will not be available of tax paid towards demand has been confirmed on account of any fraud, willful misstatement or suppression of facts. Goods or services delivered to a third party on the direction of registered person deemed to be received by the registered person. ITC will be available to a registered person billed to ship to model for services also. In case the goods covered under an invoice are not received in a single consignment but are received in multiple lots, installments, the ITC can be taken only upon receipt of the last lot or installment. Next, if depreciation claimed on tax component, then ITC will not be allowed. No double benefit will be allowed. Now, an optional scheme for banking company. Option 1, avail proportionate ITC, or option 2, avail 50% of eligible ITC. Then remaining 50% ITC will lapse. Restriction of 50% shall not apply to the tax paid on supplies made to another registration within the same entity. Option once exercised cannot be withdrawn during the remaining part of the year. Now, we are coming to, in the context of input tax credit, the most important concept, that is payment for invoice to be made within 180 days. So here, in case the payment for an invoice was not made within 180 days of the date of issuance of invoice, then the ITC availed would be added to his output tax liability with interest at the rate 18% from the date of availing credit till the date when the amount added to the output tax liability. Next one is ITC reversed earlier can be re-availed upon payment of the consideration along with tax without any time limit. Exceptions. Payment within 180 days does not apply in the following situations. Point number 1, supplies under reverse charge. Number 2, deemed supplies without consideration. Number 3, additions made to the consideration on account of supplier's liability. Now I am coming to time limit for availing ITC. ITC on invoices or debit notes pertaining to a financial year can be availed anytime till the due date of filing of the return for the month of September of the succeeding financial year, that is 20th October, or the date of filing of the relevant annual return, that is 31st December, whichever is earlier. The time limit applies only in case of availment of credit for the first time. Such limits do not apply in case of re-availment of credit that had been reversed earlier. So that is all about so far the input tax credit is concerned. The major important points I have said. Then again I will come back with some other additional concepts so far the input tax credit is concerned. Hope you have understood this. Wish you very good luck And thank you very much.